Hi everyone, Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. Today we are at the Toronto International Auto Show, and beside me is the LX600. Now, you probably haven't seen too many of these on the street. They are quite rare, hopefully becoming a little more popular over this year. Lexus doesn't build a ton of these, so if you are coming to the auto show, I definitely highly recommend you taking a look at this. In some other markets, this would be very similar to something like a Toyota Land Cruiser, but in Canada, it is called the LX600. A few years ago, they got rid of the V8, the 5.7 that was in it, and now it's a twin-turbo V6 3.5 liter, very similar to what you find in something like the LS. In the lineup. So taking a look at the one behind me. So this one is in the beautiful nori green pearl color with a very light interior, which I haven't seen this color combination on the LX yet in person. So I am very impressed with how it looks in the sunshine. That metallic paint will have a really nice flake to it, as well as it kind of reminds me of, you know, that old school British racing green that we saw in some European cars. So really cool that Lexus has offered that in the LX. At the front, you'll see your typical high-end Lexus stuff. So we have the triple beam LED headlights, the signature lights, and also a little Lexus emblem kind of off to the side there with some chrome as well. Taking a look at that big front grille, this one is not the F Sport, so it doesn't have the spindle grille, but instead some really nice kind of flowing slats that actually kind of loop around a little bit instead of just finishing off, which is quite nice. We have some active venting on the front as well, of course. And taking a look at the side profile, this vehicle comes with running boards right from the factory. There is no option to have it without, but really nice, larger chrome wheels. And you can even just tell from the side silhouette that that rear seat space has a lot of kind of like height as well as legroom. This is a vehicle that it's not uncommon for the owner to sit in the back, especially in a few other countries. And that's why there's a few screens back there, as well as controls for seats. Some of the packages have, you know, heated, cooled, massaging seats as well, which is quite nice. And a ton of switches kind of in the center for them to be able to use. One of the packages I've seen before was the VIP edition, which is a little bit different than this one. It actually goes down to only 4 seats, where traditionally there is a third row as well. So this one is the package that has that. This is an SUV that feels more like a luxury sedan, like the LS when actually being driven. So super smooth, super comfortable, and still somehow rugged. So when you see this car in, you know, other markets like, you know, Africa, the Middle East, or even South America, it's not uncommon to see these go a little bit more off-road. Probably not so much in Canada, we don't see that as much, but it is, you know, common in other areas. Taking a look at the back, we have some familiarities here, like the rest of the lineup, the new Lexus emblem. On this one, it just seems more prominent as well, because the letters are a little bit bigger. So I really like that. It gives the car a little bit more presence. It makes sure that you know it's not something small like an NX from the back, which is pretty cool. And then also the new kind of taillight design with an exposed wiper at the back. But there's something even more interesting kind of off to my side here. So this is a shoe that Lexus did with the luxury designer Christopher Bates. This came out around the time of the UX F Sport, so a couple years back. And kind of some of the cues in the shoe is very similar to the Lexus lineup. We have, you know, the perforated leather, some of the red that we've seen in our cars. And I've never seen anybody wearing them, but it is kind of cool to see them here at the Toronto Auto Show today. Okay, so taking a look at the inside of the LX600, which is obviously where this vehicle really stands out. One of my favorite things is that the wireless charger for your phone is kind of right here in the center. There's been times where I've been in a car where I put my wireless phone in a compartment somewhere and I end up forgetting it in the car, but this one being right out in front, I really like that. Also, a big favorite with a lot of our guests is the fact that this center opens from each side, which is really nice, and there's a cool box in the center here. So you can keep water bottles cool, stuff like that. Really nice modern matte black trim piece, which is really cool. Lots of switches and controls, but not too overwhelming. They've really kind of narrowed that down to do a lot of things through the 2 screens here. And it's one of the only Lexuses with 2 screens to be able to control things like climate control and obviously all of your other multimedia stuff. And they've turned a lot of what used to be clunky buttons everywhere into those screens. So it's a little bit easier, a little bit nicer to look at and not overwhelming. We also have some of that wood trim on the steering wheel here, which is really nice. A few switches to the left here, and then even on the door panel itself, just really high-end materials, soft leathers, really nice piano black finish, and obviously the Mark Levinson sound system. Okay, so to get to the third row seat, super simple. There's a lever just here at the bottom of the backrest where it kind of meets the bottom cushion. Give that a pull, it folds up and you can get into that third row if it has it equipped, of course. In the rear trunk space, you can see it's absolutely massive when the third row is folded, and there is some switches here to be able to fold them quickly, fold them back up. When that third row is up, the trunk space is quite small, but if you don't have to use it all the time, it's not a big deal at all.